Hi, my name is Paulina, and I am a yoga teacher, writer, and certified human soul. I was sitting here thinking, what should I say in my first YouTube video? How should I introduce myself? And then I had an idea. What if I research, how to make a first YouTube video? Because that's what we do, right? Before we create, we just have to always make sure that we're doing the right thing, that we have all the tools and information before doing something, um, aka the disease of perfectionism. Um, I just wanted to tell you because when I typed in first YouTube video, and that's all I typed in to the search bar, a video popped up of this young guy, probably no more than 20, called Jawed. And this video is 20 years old. So 20 years ago, I was 9. It was my first time coming to England, and it's called Me at the Zoo. And it's just this young guy standing in front of an elephant and saying, "Hello, welcome." I don't remember the full dialogue, but saying, like, "Oh, the cool thing about these guys is that they have really long trunks." And the whole video is about 19 seconds old, 19 seconds long. And I believe that is literally the first YouTube video, and this guy has 5 million subscribers with just one video, filmed 20 years ago. And yeah, this was a very spontaneous moment, as I'm sure. Just filmed, just right off the bat, no thinking, first YouTube video ever. And here I am procrastinating because I don't know what to say, what to film. So I'll just jump right into it, and it's going to be what it's going to be. But essentially, I kind of wanted to introduce myself, welcome you to my channel, and just let you know how I started up with yoga, because that's the main thing I'm doing nowadays. I'm also a writer. I don't want to put that to the side because that's a huge part of my life. I've kept a journal since 9 years old, but I want to focus a little bit more about yoga. So, what drew me to yoga and how did I discover yoga? So, yoga found me in 2020 at the cusp of COVID. So, it's a really strange time. It almost doesn't feel real anymore. It's been so long. But I was renting out a flat near Cricklewood, Dollis Hill kind of area. So I was living out of home with a couple, and first there was a young girl next to me, and then there was an adult man, and I just had obviously a lot of time to stay with myself, to think, to just think about life, because essentially I was furloughed. So that I was one of the, I want to say, lucky ones that got to basically earn money whilst not doing much. So yeah, I spent a couple of months just being home, uh, scared slash told not to go out. So how do I spend my time? What do I do? I wanted to introduce some movement to my life. And I was never really a huge sporty person, although I always liked, walking, or when I was a young kid doing cartwheels, kind of gymnastic style things. Um, but yeah, I just never knew what yoga really was. I never knew what it could bring to my life. But I typed in 15 minutes yoga, and mm, yoga with Cassandra really stood out to me. But also another lady that I don't quite remember the name, Adrienne, yoga with Adrienne also stood out to me. And also Kat Meffin. Kat Meffin became one that I was really, really into. Now I've got many, many other teachers I follow, but these three were kind of the main yogis I followed and did flows with. And they were very beginner friendly. Then there was also some challenges. I started with 15 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe half an hour at a time. And I really fell in love with it. I noticed that it was not just good for my body to move, but it helped me mentally. I started to notice how breath work and meditation just really started to calm my thoughts, and it became a lot more quiet up there, let's say. Um, it reduced my anxiety, it reduced my overthinking. Of course, it was not like a perfect blind that yoga just made me um, completely evolve and grow, because we have like ups and downs in life with the practice, with things. It's human nature to just flow through life. But whenever I did practice, I really felt energetically cleansed. I really felt like it was something beneficial. So I continued doing so. Now it marks 6 years. And I believe after 2 years, I took up my first teacher training, and that was online. I completed a further one online. And only last year, I've managed to go to India, which was a beautiful experience. I highly recommend, even if it's not to do teacher training. It's just a totally different world. And the sense of spirituality is really strong there, because the roots of yoga go back to Rishikesh, which is where I've spent my time. And yeah, yoga became an essential part of my life. It became almost something really habitual, like brushing your teeth. And yeah, here I am. I also struggled with some sciatica like pain and problems on my left side, on my glute and hip. And that was aggravated, I think, with tons of movement. I was waitressing at the time, and I just noticed I would have these spasms, I want to call them spasms, where like for 2-3 seconds I was kind of locked and I like couldn't move. And I would wake up with like really, really intense stabbing pain, like deep in my glute muscles. I saw a physio for a little bit, who gave me some exercises that I did occasionally. You know how it is. Um, but essentially, I just took matters into my own hands and started to do my own research about piriformis syndrome and how yoga can help. And I realized that sometimes there's problems with overstretching and not having the muscle be strong. So I really focused on strengthening the glutes in any poses or any flows I did, just being mindful about strengthening the glutes and not overstretching. I found, for example, that butterfly pose. Sorry, I think my microphone died for a little bit. The joys of recording and coming across problems. But as I was saying, I found that overdoing the butterfly pose really put a lot of pressure and excessive stretch on that piriformis muscle and just the surrounding glute muscles, really aggravating my sciatica like problem issue. So it was a little bit of trial and error with finding, yoga styles or certain asanas that would strengthen the glutes but not overstretch them. It has to be a balance in life, as with most things. Nowadays, I practice yoga, or I like to practice yoga almost every day. And the misconception is that yoga has to be a physical practice or an asana practice. So when I say I practice yoga every day, I don't mean necessarily that I do movement every day, although I do believe some form of movement is important. Whether it's, mindful walking or just a quick 5 minute stretch, I think it all counts. But when I say yoga every day, I do mean, meditation, mindful breaths, breath work, whether it's self study, reading the Bhagavad Gita. I do have the copy and I try to occasionally have a look in it, or things under niyamas and yamas. So, for example, pratyahara, sense withdrawal, which is kind of, I guess, linked to meditation, closing down the eyes and just really having no sensory input, I think in this modern day and age is very important. So I try to do a bit of yoga every day in that sense. Very nice to meet you and welcome to my channel. I hope you find it useful. I'll be posting yoga flows, but also kind of talks like this, and definitely a bit about writing. And I'm also originally Polish and I speak a little bit of Italiano. So you might see content also related to being bilingual or trying to be multilingual. Flows in my mother tongue and also in Italian. So if that interests you, please stay in my channel. And yeah, wish you a wonderful day and see you next time.